Okay, this is looking good. This is looking good. Now if I do this. Okay. Okay. Is it choppy for you guys? Stream solid sound good? Oh, thank God. Oh. Yeah, dog. So here's what's up. Basically, I did some recording last night and I was like, I want to get better video quality or whatever. And I was like looking online and like changing settings. And this morning it was just like, oh God, what have I done? But anyway, and then like, I don't know, I'm on Mac and like Ventura won't update beyond 3.5. And so I can't get the latest DaVinci Resolve either. And I'm like, oh God, computers. Oh. Anyway, hello everyone. Hello Bob, Tyler, Ruben, Kimberly, Wesley, Timothy. PPs and stream is indeed solid. Excellent. Hello. An esoteric programmer, welcome. Archon's almost got me there for real, Ruben. For real. Scouse, welcome. Slept through the last one like a filthy Heilig. Nah, we all good. Necrodancer. Gooning is a disciple of my Jack. No. Oh God. Daddy, I've got the black lung. Now, welcome to this Manly P. Hall stream. To those watching in the future, we're up to chapter 4. We're going to get into some Atlantis today, guys. If you want to help support the stream or read along, you can go to this site, the Agora, and go to their library to use what I'm using. And also do consider becoming a channel member, because we've got sexy things coming up, like secret streams on the Telegram. Maybe even a secret Franz Barden study group, but you got to be a member of the secret chat to get to that. Isn't that right, Carl? Yes, good, good. You missed the last one, Esoteric Programmer? That's all good, that's all good. Howdy, Out Tuition. Sold books to a guy today who ended up in real life schizo ranting to me about how society is ran by Bene Gesserit ex witch covens. I don't know, man. I don't think we have Bene Gesserit like witches on this shtick. Maybe there's like a level of the Black Lodge that's mainly women, and it appears that way, but I don't think it's mainly it's Bene Gesserit. I wish it was Bene Gesserit. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. He went on to tell me he's of a Hyperborean lineage. Was he based? Sounds a little bit schizo. Why is my like camera not all blurry? Kimberly, download Telegram just for me. Thanks. Are you currently, another guy, currently reading Reverend Insanity and also looking into Initiation to Hermetics. Good. Fantastic. Oh, by the way, another guy. Before we start the stream, just to go on some Lord of Mysteries glaze here. Circle of Inevitability, chapter like 850, the main character actually loses his virginity. He's finally a main character that's not afraid of women. And not only that, he does it with the demoness. It's crazy. Crazy scene. Crazy scene. We got a plane outside. Anyway. He said Dune was disclosure. Out tuition. Okay. Okay. I mean, Dune is highly esoteric. Dune is highly esoteric. Another guy. Lumion better than Klein? No, they're just different. They're just different. Lumion starts off kind of his own quirky character, and then when he gets to Trier, it kind of turns into like Sherlock Moriarty 2.0, but now he's basically his own thing. By the time you get to like, because he's a hunter path, by the time you get to Conspirer and like Reaper, he's his own guy. He's his own guy. Now, let's just like get into some manly guys. Let's get, oh, hello. No coiner. Thank you. Put this towards an ASMR mic so I can light some candles, pour some wine, draw a bath, and really get into the stream, if you know what I mean. Okay, okay. I will. Everyone donate if you want me to get an ASMR mic. What's a good ASMR mic? I've got a blue Yeti at the moment. Nick D, more ASMR whisper streams. You really like the whisper stream, huh? Okay. Adamu, are we synchronized? No, I don't think we are. Because I had to like really rush the settings for this stream, so there are going to be some of you that are like way out of sync. Am I finished reading Circle of Inevitability? No, I'm not. I'm up to like 860, 870 or something. Okay, but for reals though, guys. Oh no. Are we dying? Warning, current bitrate. Oh god. This stream might die, guys. This stream might die. God. Is it just me or is the webcam laggy? Yeah, it is. Oh no. Maybe we'll have to do a manly stream next week. Oh. Feels bad, bro. Feels bad. We're gonna have to reschedule. $30K condenser mic for ASMR. Damn. I think the video is just gonna die soon, guys. Actually, let me do this. Let me stop recording. Because if I stop recording, we may get video. Is that getting better? Computer, is it an internet issue or computer issue? It's more of a, I mean, I've always had shitty internet, but it's more of a computer issue because I've like changed up some settings. Oh, hello. Are we back? Esoteric programmer, you gotta help me, bro. You're the programmer here. It's just the video lagging. Yeah, I need to change my video settings. DMing Elon now. Whoops. Just hit my mic there. Sorry, guys. Burb. Are we back? Are we back? We've never been so back. The only problem now is, like, I'm not recording, so this is just going to get lost in the ether. I can never make shorts out of this episode. You know what? Maybe for this stream, I'm not gonna read for this stream. Let me just, what am I using? OBS? Let's just turn this into a Hangout stream, guys. Let's just turn this into a Hangout stream. Things just ain't working. I'm gonna change this up. Somebody record and shit. Nah. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna have to look at my recorder, my settings after this and just like work it out. So what am I using? I'm using OBS and I'm on a Mac, and for some reason iMac Retina 5 Radeon something gay sex, more info, Ventura 13 blah blah blah, whatever. Let's rant and band. Yeah, it's just a Hangout stream now, bro. Where's Carl? Carl's right here. Carl is in our soul. Carl is with us all, always, for eternity. You think it's fine? Yeah, but I can't record, and I don't want to do the stream because I want to record all of these streams because one day I want to cut them into little shorts and pump my shorts. Pull the deck out. Pull some taro out. No, Carl. Okay, just let me peel this to the side. Let's get some taro out, guys. Let's get some taro. This stream is now a taro stream for people joining now. Burb up. Carl is just gonna have to hide. He's just whispering to me now. That guy who ranted at me sold books to... Bought like 2 Julius Evola books. I've never dipped my foot into those waters fully. What's your thoughts? I mean... Look, I like Evola. I'm not gonna hate on Evola. Just read Hermetic Tradition, read Yoga of Power, read his Buddhist books, and read Introduction to Magic. That's all you need, really. I mean, you wanna go balls deep and read Ride the Tiger and Revolt Against? Go for it. Even his political works aren't that bad anyway. It's just people get so salty over Evola, oh my god, blah, super fascist, he was a friend of the Nazis, he's people like Dugan now Dugan is a danger to the West, and Evola inspired Dugan. It's no. You read Dugan, he's more into Gunon than he is ever into Evola. You actually read the histories, and it's the Nazis actually hated Evola because he made fun of them for their biological racism. What is it? Spirit above blood always. And it's the super fascist thing is kind of a mistranslation. If you ever look into this Evola calling himself a super fascist, it's in this context where he was on trial for fascism, and he says that, but he was acquitted of fascism. And so you have to understand, it's what he meant, or the translation is, no, I'm beyond fascism. I'm not a fascist because I've gone beyond it. That's what he meant. But people get that translation and they're he calls himself a super fascist. Clearly, this is terrible. And it's dog, the guy was wanted to kind of go back to an absolute monarchy where the monarchy was also the head of the church and we have a sacred king. And it's that's his political theory, dog. It's not that's never going to happen. You don't have to worry about Evola anyway. I got the deck handy just in case. What are we talking about? Base pull deck. I don't remember there being technical issues before Carl turned up. No, it was just today. It's just today, guys. It's just today. Feels bad. Warren McIntyre entered the chat. I bought some nice wee books in Paris from the Freemason shop. Ooh, nice. This month is 15 for. Oof. Tyler, that means you're basically... This month is just kind of... You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful because the devil's coming to chain you. He's coming to, he's coming for your vineyards, Tyler. He's coming for your vineyards. That's what a 15 means. You gotta be careful. Black magic. You're gonna get... He's gonna crack your bussy open. Pull one for the upcoming eclipse, Rich. You mean a tarot card? Let me... So this is for surf. For surf... What are we gonna, luck for the upcoming eclipse? I didn't even know there is an eclipse. Give us a fortune for the eclipse. That's good. Temperance is hard. Temperance is hard. Angel, wings, 2 cups. The winged angel. Balance, but also the wings show ascension. Contact. This eclipse is a time to contact our higher nature. 2 cups, the higher pouring into the lower. Let's get some teachings from our higher selves. That'll be a good thing to do during the eclipse. Adamu, you like person X who liked supervillain Y is the stupidest argument ever. Exactly. Oh, you said sorry. Oh, sorry, 9, not 15. Okay. So 9 is hermit. So hermit is great. Hermit is just, means your internal work it gets a +9 boost. In games when it's get this ability and you get a 20-30% boost. That's what the hermit card is. If you get that for a month for your internal work. So basically, just do some internal working, bro, and because that's you. That's the hermit. It's go around, live your normal life. Chat with Karen at the office. You don't need to isolate yourself, but your internal practices should be the focus of that month. That's what a 9 for the month is. Esoteric program. I just read Thought Forms 1905 today. I thought it was interesting, but does it align with magic at all? So when you say thought forms, you mean the one via, I was going to say Chuck Liddell. Lol, what? Charles Leadbeater. Because Leadbeater's got some problems, not going to lie. Not going to lie. Ruben says, read Julius Evola, The Philosopher, Mission, and War if you want to read about his wartime adventures. That sounds cool. I haven't read that. Full Moon in Pisces. Ooh. Pull the Eclipse card. I just did. It was Temperance. That's what you get, Surf. That's all you're getting. Esoteric Programmer. I don't know if you got the last message, but export save settings before touching it. Yeah, I also did some jiggy thing with the recording where it records in MKV, but it exports as MP4, and I think that maybe creates lag. So I might just go back to just do an MKV maybe. Because people are like, oh, MP4, blah, 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 there's better quality. But if you just record purely in MP4, if your OBS crashes, you lose everything, whereas MKV you don't. But then they want the MP4 quality. So there's this function where you record in MK4, but it like exports as an MP4. And I think that just bussy cracks it. That cracks the bussy. And it just makes everything lag and destroys everything for everyone. Adamu, 2 of Cup Angels. .av. A little what? Oh shit, sorry, I jumped. We hit Gnosis, y'all. Says Surf, Wesley Sullivan. Let's get some knowledge and conversation. Exactly, bro, holding card like Yugi holding up the last piece of Exodia. Damn, chat's going too fast now. Pull a card to see if we're soulmates, says Coin Noah. I'm gonna do a minor arcana for that one. So this is are we soulmates? Are we all connected? Are we all connected? I'm pulling one minor arcana for No Coiner. Is this for all of us? No, this is just me, and none of you are included in this. This is just me and No Coiner. Are me and No Coiner astrally connected? Have we met in a past life? No Coiner, we were enemies in a past life, bruh. That's why we're friends now. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Oh shit, okay. I'm just jumping right down to Necrodancer now. Thank you for the $9, Necrodancer. Do me a reading, please. I need contact my guardian angel higher self and unlocking his cheat codes or wisdom. What? Like, yeah, but like a reading doesn't help you get to contact your higher self. It's like, you want to contact your higher self, do practice. I'm not gonna... You want me to recommend your practice? Or you want me to, like... Because it's like, if you want to contact and be in communion with your higher self, you should be doing the reading, bro. You should be using the tarot to communicate with your own higher self, bro. I'm not doing that. What's going on? Kimberly K, I'm due to give birth any day now. Oh, congrats. Can you pull a card for me? Probably no way to get a time frame. Yeah, I'll do a major arcana for that. But like, I mean, it's only going to be good or bad, but like, what's Kimberly's kid? Is Kimberly's birth going to be A-okay? What's a kid going to be like? What's the essence that is incarnating through Kimberly? What's that essence like? That's what I want to know. What's Kimberly's baby's essence like? Star. Nice. That's good. That's solid. Means you're... I mean, if it's like... It's not like the world or the sun, but it's a star. It's like this essence. Okay, that's really good, actually. That's really good. And it's not the moon either, so it's not darkness. The star is just like... That's just a solid card for birth as well. Like, you got the waters, you had a naked woman there. Oh. Where is it? Like, bruh, that's just like for Kimberly, for your birth. That's like that's good. That's solid. That's solid right there. You don't need it. You don't need to worry about anything. It's all working out. Wesley Sullivan says Leadbeater was the one who thought Krishnamurti was the next world teacher based on his aura. Lol. Leadbeater was also the one that Krishnamurti, at the end of his life, when Krishnamurti was like, I forgive all of the theosophists for what they did to me, except for Leadbeater. Leadbeater is a truly evil man. Also, Leadbeater was the one that Dion Fortune never trusted. Dion Fortune in all of her works never calls Crowley a black magician, despite being like, this guy's a little bit sus. I wouldn't practice what he teaches. He's a genius at magic, at least in a theoretical sense, but I wouldn't practice Crowley's practices because he, there's something a little sus. She never calls him a black magician. Dion Fortune calls Leadbeater a black magician. She's just like, don't trust him. Antichrist. Stay away. And it's like, that says something about Leadbeater. That says something about Leadbeater and Annie Besant. So Blavatsky, perhaps solid, but then after her, because, and what's one of the critiques of all the theosophists? People critique the theosophists as like, oh, they give no footnotes and they just make shit up. Blavatsky, for all of her source, trust me, bro, she, you look at her star sign, she's Leo, but she's, her horoscope, she's a Leo, hence why she's a bitch, but she's also got Virgo and Mercury. She footnotes a lot of stuff. She draws from a lot of sources, but you know what, dog? Leadbeater doesn't give any sources. Leadbeaters just make stuff up. Leadbeater is sussy baka. Full sussy baka. I read his book on chakras, and on one level it's fine. But on another level, I'm like, it just seems to be a repeat of like Arthur Avalon's Servant of Power. There's nothing actually, everything is kindergarten, and there's nothing to take you beyond. You just like read and go, oh wow, that's so good. Anyway, oh, hello. And no problem, Kimberly. Thank you for the $5. Another guy, Richard Ruark. What technique do you use for your readings? And how should one start to practice if they are interested? Reading recommendation? I mean, tarot is always intuitional. I mean, it's good to read interpretations. When you're just kind of lost in the beginning. Yeah, of course, read definitions, read divinatory meanings, but in the end, I always recommend your practice, if you want to get good at tarot, is separate the major arcana from the minor arcana, and then every day, shuffle the major arcana and draw a card. And you'll notice kind of patterns in your life. And then stop doing it. Like, do it for a month and then stop doing it, and then restart again. And you'll kind of notice the pattern changes. And it's like, if you do this over a long enough time, you kind of get a flavor for the cards. The cards have an interesting flavor because, yes, reading divinatory meanings is good, but there comes a time when the cards will give you meanings that defy the divinatory meanings, and you need to go beyond just what's written in the book. So what the most important thing for pulling a card is when you pull a card and you look at it, that first impulse is the most important thing. That's the most important thing, and it's like, you kind of have to cultivate that. If you're not a naturally intuitive person, you kind of have to cultivate that, hence why pulling one every day. And then once you kind of get good with the major arcana, do it with the minor arcana, and you can kind of mix them together. That's why sometimes having two decks is good, because you just have one that's your daily deck, which is the major and minor combined together, that you just pull one a day. But then there's, for actual readings, I have a very simple spread. My spread is, I have a deck which is split major and minor, and I get 3 candles, and you do your thing, you get into your kind of state, and then you just shuffle the major and you pull 1 major, and then you shuffle the minor and you pull 2 minors. And the numbers that the minor are, so say you get, I don't know, 7 of coins, 7 of pentacles, 10 of wands, that's 7 and 10. You plus 7 and 10 together, that's 17, and then your major arcana, what major did you get? Did you get judgment? That's 20. Judgment or resurrection? 20. So you plus 17 into 20, that's 37. 37 is too big of a number to correspond to another major arcana, so you combine the numbers together and you get 3 plus 7 equals 10. And it depends, like if you want to go double digits, you can also use your intuition here, so you can go 10 to 1 and pull Magician, or you can go just 10 and pull Wheel of Fortune. But basically you end up with 4 cards. So the first 3 cards you pull is just through shuffling, but the fourth one is a result of numerological reduction. And through this method, you get 4 cards, 2 majors and 2 minors that kind of make a cross. And that is enough to, for me, that's enough symbolism to coherently coherently answer any questions I have for the cards. So that's my style. Richard Turningham schizo, yes I am. If you want, and if you want to like, yeah. As for like tarot-ish books, I never really learnt like that. The books that I read on the tarot were kind of books that, instead of teaching symbolism, just used tarot as a mechanism for teaching occultism in general. You know, the ultimate book is like, you know, the Meditations on the Tarot, which doesn't, it goes into tarot symbolism, but it's like each chapter is a general knowledge. It's an unfolding of the card into a general knowledge of the Western tradition in and of itself. Just like, anyway. Scouse, thank you for the £5. Advice on how to formulate a coherent metaphysics, especially if you hold seemingly contradictory beliefs. That's interesting, because I mean, at first, I think everyone starts out as what's called like a psychical nomad, is you just kind of travel through different systems, picking what you like. And I think that's fine. Where you end up has to be a combination of not just what you read, but like, you know, you can get knowledge from your reading and studying universal laws and studying theology, studying the texts. But yes, there's also your engagement with life, your own life experiences, and then there's your practice. So it's like you can read something in a text, but if your life doesn't reflect that, like if you read Stoic philosophy and you just can't make it work in your life, it's not for you, dog. There may be some other philosophy that's just like, no, be passionate and freaking use your emotions and your suffering to fuel your greatness or something. And that may work for you. It's like, you don't deceive yourself and force yourself, cut yourself down to fit a system. If you can't make it work, what you read and your life are in conflict. Your life is important, and what you read has to kind of interact and blend. And on top of that, there's also your praxis. Through your practice, you get certain things. You know, the human itself is a system, and data can come out, but data also comes in through your senses. Through your reason, you can deduce knowledge. But then there's our esoteric organs. There's esoteric data, which is filtered out, usually, but via practicing introspection, meditation, by practicing ceremonial magic, by practicing certain esoteric path working, using the tarot, using certain Kabbalistic things. We interact with the world differently. We become more subtle. So data that we usually filter out, we get, and also different type of data which we don't necessarily have access to, we begin to access. And that data may be represented to us through visions, through an internal voice, or we may just intuit it. Or it almost feels like ex nihilo, like we're just trying to contemplate, and we're getting nowhere, then all of a sudden an idea appears in our mind, like a star illuminating and connecting a whole bunch of other stars and creating this constellation that we just didn't see before. It just all interconnects, and we're like, oh my God. And like, your balls. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is your metaphysics, not just about studying. You need these 3 things. Your life, knowledge through the senses, your studies, your reason, but also your esoteric praxis will give you a certain illumination. And it's those 3 things together. When those PPs touch together, out of that you draw your metaphysics, your epistemology, your ethos, then how you live your life, and then your politic, how you interact with others in a just way. That's what unfolds out of that. That's my recommendation, Scouse. I hope that helps. I hope that wasn't too rambly. Esoteric Programmer, thank you for $20. Can you provide me occult wisdom practices, teachings, manifest cash, money, or a life like Jack Parsons? Thanks for all the vibes. Provide you occult practices to manifest cash and money? No. No. I'm not going to do that. How about you manifest some bit? No, I'm kidding. How about instead of manifesting money, you connect to your higher self? Dog. How about you have dominion over your desires? How about you remember what has been forgotten? Everything lost in your past lives. How about you derive out of the darkness of the past? You rescue that knowledge and forge something new within yourself. Something indestructible, which not even the ray of death will be able to crack. And when your body is old and worn and withered away, and you draw your last breath, instead of dying, then something will be born. How about that, esoteric programmer? How about that? Or, you know, if you want to live a life like Jack Parsons, I guess just, I don't know, have sex with your mom? True story. Look it up. Ruben, thank you for the £6. Next week, I will be on a solo retreat for a couple of days. Can you draw a card to divine what to focus on? Okay, I'll do a major arcana for that. Ruben, what should his esoteric... I mean, really, for something esoteric like this, Ruben dog, you should be doing your own tarot reading for this. But I'll give you what you. I'll do this one for you. Ruben, what should your focus be for your esoteric praxis in the upcoming retreat? Wait, let me draw a second one just in case. Okay, that's interesting. So you're getting two cards. So what's going to happen here is, my interpretation of this is the card that you first got, Ruben. This card is a breaking down of what you've built. So here's the thing. It's like we hate losing what we've built. But what if what you're building is wrong? See that lightning bolt there? That lightning bolt right at the top? That's God giving you enlightenment. That's what you want, right? Well, enlightenment can't contain in it anything false. So everything that you've built that's false is going to get blasted. So all of your assumptions, all of your false concepts to do with the path, introspection, you know, the hermit is the person on the path. He's got the staff of Hermes. He's got the lamp of Diogenes. He's got a cloak to cloak himself from the skepticism of the world, to protect himself from the winds of loneliness. This is the man on the path. Your concepts on the path are going to be shattered. You should shatter your preconceptions on the path. And that's going to push your praxis forward, Ruben. That's how I would interpret that. Scouse, thanks. Is it wrong that I chubbed up at that answer? No? No, having a thick pee-pee is always correct. Outtuition, paging Mammon, paging Archdemon Mammon, manifest wealth for another mortal. Wesley Sullivan Nulu, I think he just studied Levy. Do you believe Levy? He came up in Paris, scene where everything was popping off, but I reckon he made some serious progress on path. Yeah, Levy was solid. I mean, Levy has a lot of blinds in his work, but Levy was solid. Esoteric programmer. I found Bernardo Kastrup, a CERN engineer and PhD philosopher, but he says about the same things. Yes. People just chatting in chat. Excellent, excellent. Did anyone ask else ask a question? Bruh. We still alive? God, I've still got that, like, oh no, I've got good, it says good connection now, thank God. Nulu. The Martinus guy told me to read Tara of the Bohemians by Papoose. No, actually, I haven't read that. I've heard good things about it. No, that was about Papoose. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, but Papoose is also solid. Papoose is also a part of the old guard. You know what I'm saying? Levi, Papoose, and then in Germany you kind of got like Franz Hartmann and Krumheller. Those are like old guard people. Steiner and all that stick. What is my least favorite tarot card, says Necrodancer. I mean, freaking the devil just messes you up every time. But I mean, it's not like you have a favorite. Actually, you know what my least favorite is? Freaking Justice. Justice sucks. You know why Justice sucks? Because it doesn't mean anything. Justice, if you get Justice, if you're asking about your path, like that's what I've usually asked for about my internal path. Like when like, how are you going? How am I going on the path? And you like pull a card. You get Justice, and Justice is like, you are not able to move forward at this moment. Or it's like, you're not able, Justice is like, is the adjustment bureau coming and restricting you. Justice feels like you've got a tight, narrow hallway, and there are all these doors, but they're all locked, and you just get squeezed down it till the end. You've got no choice. It's like you're on train tracks. Your life is on train tracks, and you're just set to, like, but it's not, it sucks. It sucks. It's just like you have to endure. That's what Justice is. It sucks. Esoteric programmer asks, is Steiner legit? Yeah, he's legit. I mean, look, he comes from a bit of a theosophical background, and he went off and did his own thing and became more Rosicrucian-y. But he basically falls into this category of a lot of the things he says are like, source, I made it up. But when he's got good things going for him, he's got really good things going for him. You know, he's got good things to say about the Christ. He had a great respect for the Christ and things like that. He's solid stuff. He's solid stuff. I mean, Outline of Occult Science, what is it, Intuitional Thinking as a Spiritual Path, you know, they're like classics. I kind of want to go through Outline of Occult Science as one of the old live streams one day. Maybe we'll do that. Eventually. Justice is go straight to jail in Monopoly. Exactly. That's Justice of the Tarot, is just to go straight to jail. Is there any kind of practice that you would ever consider touching? What do you mean, Scouse? I don't understand. Surf says, where do you fit Moloch in the Gnostic picture? Moloch, as an actual Moloch, just bull-faced god? What is he? He's just a random freaking astral being. If he wants the blood of babies, I don't think he's a good guy. But it's one of those things. Is he a being, or is he just kind of a weird egregor? Candy stuffed corpse. Also, Adamu. 5 months psychotronic researcher. Thank you for subscribing. Candy stuffed corpse. My video encoder crashed and everything died, so now we're just hanging out. Who's my favorite Mythic Age hero? You mean like Hercules? I mean, like, I would say like, kind of like, you mean like mythological hero? I'm a bit fond of, I like the story of Cadmus. Not because I know much about Cadmus, just because it's like, Cadmus and Zeus is a story where it really shows that the gods need us to participate. So for people who don't know about Cadmus, he's a kind of a music guy like Orpheus. The main myth of him is connected to Zeus fighting Typhon. So when Zeus fights Typhon, he actually gets his shit kicked in, sorry. He gets his booty clapped. Zeus gets his cheeks clapped hard by Typhon. So Typhon is this huge beast in Greek mythology. And he claps Zeus's cheeks hard. Like, and you think of it as like Zeus, king of the gods. Like, what kind of giant Leviathan-like being can beat up Zeus? It's crazy. It's crazy that way, but like, what happens, how Zeus beats him is, Zeus gets Cadmus, and he confronts Typhon. And with Cadmus, and Cadmus plays the song of the piano man on his lyre, and it puts Typhon to sleep. So Typhon goes to sleep, and then because he's asleep, then Zeus is like, let's get it on. Gets, like, deadlifts a giant mountain and crushes Typhon underneath a mountain. So Typhon is sealed underneath a mountain now. Very interesting. Sealed beneath the earth, like Nidhogg from Norse mythology. But that myth has always very intrigued me, because it's like, even the highest thing, Zeus, you know, Keter in Kabbalah, Keter, the highest part of yourself, can't complete the work without the lowest part, without the human part. The highest thing can't help but need the aid of that which is human. So the story of Cadmus has always intrigued me in that sense. Sick pick. Very underrated. Thank you, our tuition. Wesley Sullivan, Rich, I'm reading The Red Line, based. Had seen your review on it, really enjoying it. Thank you. Thank you. I recently did a review on Prometheus and Atlas. It got some attention. Hilarious. Scars, if you could wake up tomorrow in another age time, place except Atlantis. Except Atlantis, come on, man. What place would you pick? So that's tough, because there's a bunch of places. Look, a lot of people in the height of the Wests would be interesting. So, Roman Empire, but like, who was the guy before Marcus Aurelius? Like, somewhere around Vitruvian, one of the 4 good emperors. When those guys were around, that would have been a good time. In ancient Greece, when Athens was having its golden age, being born an Athenian then would have been hot. Meet Plato. Alexandria in Egypt would also be a hot time. But you know one that's really underrated? Sometime in ancient Persia, around like maybe Kudro, or like maybe early Cyrus or something like that. When Cyrus, who was Cyrus? Cyrus or Darius? Which was the guy that conquered Babylon? And there's like the empire just got mad big. Like, that would be a really good time to be around. Also, actually, you know what? So I'm just giving a bunch instead of one, but Byzantium, Constantinople, Byzantium, being in like, not at its fall, but being in late Byzantium a couple of generations before the fall, that would have been like hot. A part of the like Platonic Academy there, the Eastern Platonic Academy, that would be hot. Anyway, those are my answers. Our tuition. I saw Giorgiani shouted you out. Any chance on reaching out to him for a little collab? See, here's the thing. I would love to interview Giorgiani, but like, I want to get better at like interviewing. I want to like read more of his stuff, because I haven't actually read all of his stuff. I read Close Encounters, I read Theosophy, I read Prometheus Atlas, I read Philosophy of the Future, and it's like, I've got Esoteric, you know, I've got his novels, but I haven't read Psychotron, I haven't read Artemis Unveiled. There's a bunch of stuff I haven't read from him, and I just want to like, you know, I've seen pretty much like all of his interviews, but like, I want to read more of his stuff, and I want to kind of be more well-read, and I just, because it's like, I've got some things to ask him, but I want it to be a good interview, like really good. I want to come in with, you know, more like, you know, here's Giorgiani, and like, I'm like right here. And it's like, I want to be kind of, to be closer here. Like, I want to be better so that it's good. So I'll ask him in the future. And, you know, I've reviewed a couple of his books, and he's shouted me out for both of my reviews. So in this one especially, he apparently enjoyed, so I'm glad. So hopefully that that counts for something. Jesus, what the hell is that honk? I'm not sure you guys heard that, but there was a guy like obnoxiously honking. And then he would stop, and whenever I'd speak, he'd like honk again. I'd be like, oh fuck, what? Bruh. That was a freaking moment there, dog. Yeah, exactly. I'm building the tension between me and Georgiani. Another guy asks, Rich, do you believe that beings in myths actually exist, or do you believe that they are more or less metaphors for humanity? Why is my like camera not all blurry? Or metaphors or humanity, like how you like to associate certain things to occultism. So here's the thing. Jordan Peterson is right about myth. I know a lot of people like don't like Peterson anymore, but this is going back to old Peterson. Original. Before, there's two Jordan Petersons. There's Jordan Peterson, old man psychologist, and then there's Jordan Benzo Peterson, who sold his soul to the Daily Wire. But Peterson is correct about myth, because Peterson basically echoes Evola on myth. Evola says myth is truer than history, and Peterson says myths are hyperreal. What does he mean by hyperreal, and what does Evola mean by myth is truer than history? Myth is truer than history because, you know, who writes history? Who writes history is the victor. Who writes history? History is written from a perspective. History is written by historians. You actually can't rely on history for truth. But what is myth? And when I say myth, think of folk tales, think about fables. Let's take a really simple one. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Is The Boy Who Cried Wolf a true story? Maybe if you did some like anthropology and archaeology and linguistics, and you got all the cultures that have a Boy Who Cried Wolf story and links them all back in time, and using archaeology, you could somehow find like some biological record, or this is the place where the Boy Who Cried Wolf story came from. This was the town and this was the boy. Sure. But the Boy Who Cried Wolf has happened in your life. There's a high chance that you at one point were the Boy Who Cried Wolf. There's a high chance that, you know that guy at work who just makes shit up and then eventually over time people just like don't believe him? That's the Boy Who Cried Wolf. The Boy Who Cried Wolf, that story repeats eternally. It has repeated continuously all throughout history. It is repeated in your life countless times, and it will repeat in the future again and again and again. Myths are eternal. So if you think about time as a line, history is the biological line, myth is a vertical line. Myth is eternity. Myth is something topological that emanates into that horizontal line of time, of history. This is why it's better to study myth. Well, I mean, study history. History is good. Study history, but don't like take it too seriously. And study history like paired with psychology. Study history. Study meta-history, psychohistory. But myth is eternal. Myth is hyperreal. Myth is truer than history. Evola and Jordan Peterson were right. Gurdjieff says, studying myth strikes your higher emotional cylinder, which is the cylinder that the consciousness works off of. You need that cylinder to help crystallize your solar astral body. You need the higher functionings for the work. Carl Jung says, man without a myth is man who's missing a limb. That's interesting, because we don't really have... We're kind of disconnected from our cultural myths. And what happens when people become atheists and disconnected from their roots? They become atheist soy boys who just get into Star Wars. They need lore. They need something. They would read a D&D manual instead of the Bible, and that's what happens. That becomes their myth. That's why people get obsessed with all of this nerd culture, and then they like fight over Marvel versus freaking DC or something, and they'll fight to the death and take it all personal. Why? Because they lack the connection to that which is eternal. Anyway, I'm just rambling now. But did that answered your question, another guy? Peterson's dual personality is based psychologist and Kermit the Frog. Exactly. Let the old man rest. He did enough. Exactly. Listen here, bucko, says Outtuition. As a man, you have to go on a hero's journey and confront the feminine dragon of chaos and conquer it to free the archetypal pure maiden and gain the treasure. Exactly. Peterson was right. To gain the benzo treasure. Nulu, Valentine Tomberg's horizontal axis. Exactly. Tomberg is another guy who talks of this in great detail. Where are the young haters in the chat, says Surf. Outtuition says, yeah, I've gone on a personal journey of Orpheus before for sure. Exactly. Exactly. And you got to take those lessons. Remember, Orpheus failed because he didn't trust the feminine. It's not just the feminine, but he didn't trust the human. Organic portals, says Wesley Sullivan. That's interesting. Human beings are organic portals that allow myths to actualize and express themselves. Clean your room, bucko. Tyler, member for 12 months. A year in the life. Thank you, Tyler. That's a whole year we've been together, Tyler. Might be a touch fanboy, but bro, thanks for putting it all out there. Your work continues to propel my learning and my library. Thanks, bro. Thank you for the $20. Damn. Man, I'm so sorry about this stream, guys. Adamu, I always loved the facts that you can go months without good sleep, but 2 weeks without dreams will stop your heart. That's a quote. That's a quote. That's for real. But yeah. We're coming to an hour. At the hour point, I'm just gonna end the stream and try to fix my video encoder. Do new myths exist? So, what is behind the myth? I say eternal, but there's the archetype. Archetypes change over time, you know. So there's something that's forever growing. It's like there are psychic organs in... Think of like Platonic forms, but the forms aren't eternal. The forms change. That's what archetypal space is, really. So there's this kind of plastic Neoplatonism, meta-Platonism, where you combine like panpsychism and Jungian psychology and Kantian metaphysics or something. Kantian transcendental idealism. So do myths exist? So do new myths exist? So something can arise that appears to be new. And the new is a metamorphosis. It contains something of the old. It always does. Outtuition. I was just trying to get some of that Eurydice organic portal. There is nothing new under the sun, says Tyler. And that's also truth. Myth of goat saint, Jesus Christ. Chuck Norris is a myth, says Necrodancer. Yes, yes, he is. The myth of the hypermasculine man. The archetype of the hypermasculine. Before you go, is there a tech programmer myth besides Mercury of 40k? That's interesting. Tech programmer myth. So program and tech is interesting because it's about creating kind of structure. The thing behind the archetype behind tech and computer stuff is interesting because it's, on one hand, it's architect, but it can also be storyteller, which is a bit weird. So it's somewhere half between like a storyteller and an architect is where the computer tech programmer falls in. Scouse, there's a lot of talk about this age ending and a new age beginning. Any thoughts on what to expect? God, I hope so. Oh my... I just hope people aren't, like, gay and materialistic. That's all I hope. Materialism, reductionist scientific materialism just ruined life for me, man. I can't tell you how much I hate materialism as a metaphysical system. That's just all I hope. I hope dialectical materialism, base materialism, and vulgar materialism. I know dialectical materialism can kind of be esoteric because they acknowledge the world of ideas having an influence on matter. Therefore, even though they would like deny superstition, like till their deathbed, they basically bend back on themselves and almost admit that egregores exist, and so therefore become esoteric. But I hope they all die. I hope it just dies. The age of magic. Let the age of magic and occultism and cultivation begin. That's what I want. I mean, maybe like techno-scientific occultism. I mean, the New Age basically looks like Technofeudalism. Instead of having an archaeo-futuristic solar punk aesthetic, it's going to be Technofeudalism. So what Technofeudalism is, for those who don't know, in feudal times, you have serfs, and then you have people who own the land, the aristocrats. In a techno-feudal society, we can have democracies, we can have socialisms, we can have monarchies, whatever, but the people who really run the joint are the people who own the servers. Like, think of Mark Zuckerberg owns Facebook, but you can run businesses off of Facebook, off of Instagram. He owns the land. YouTube is land, and you can run a channel, run a business on the land of YouTube. The landowners. It's not people who own Bitcoin. It's the people who are able to program a coin wallet. It's crypto.com or Binance.com. The owners of those sites, they're the feudal lords. If you're owning Bitcoin, if you have to have a Binance account and a coin wallet yourself, if you can't program a coin wallet, you're a serf. Oh, now I'm escaping the matrix, man. I'm going to start a YouTube channel with AI. Starting a YouTube channel with AI. So you're using an AI service. That's the landowner. You're using YouTube. There's a landowner there. You're a serf. The world of techno-feudalism, you're a filthy serf in all ways. If you understand that difference and you're able, and you have actual programming know-how, and you kind of know how to, I don't know, if you have money, you can buy a server farm and then create a service land that people will then want to go on. That's something interesting. But if you don't understand that dichotomy, you fail, and when techno-feudalism arises, you become a serf by proxy. That's where we're all heading. That's where it seems to all be heading, unless a titanic apocalypse happens and, you know, we all die. So if we don't destroy ourselves, it looks like we're heading towards techno-feudalism. There may be... But it's like, hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully there's something else can eventuate. Maybe some archaeo-futuristic patchwork will arise. Maybe some lefties will actually get it together and they'll have a solar punk commune that actually does something. Could happen. But that's where, you know, that's where I think the world's going. Total clanker death. Yeah, yay or nay, dog. Yes. I mean, you can't stop technology. This is the problem. This is why I feel like, you know how there's that story in ancient times, or there's this thing where they found this ancient codex of an Egyptian like pharaoh, and like a kind of a scientist or inventor comes to him and offers him this thing and says, I've made this substance, and he's made a bowl out of it. And the guy gets it, and the way he describes it, it seems like he's describing plastic. And the Egyptian pharaoh has some kind of foresight and is like, this will create so many problems, and kills the inventor and burns his like creation. You can really hold down progress, but once you let it out of the bottle and everybody is able to kind of get a hold of it, you can't stop it, dog. So I you know, on a level, total clank of death, but once you let progress out of the bag, once you let computers out of the bag, nukes out of the bag, AI out of the bag, you can only go forward. There's only one place that's forward. You can only accelerate. You can only accelerate to a horizon. And this is just it. You can either go forward blindly, or you can hopefully have a Promethean vision. And if you don't have a Promethean vision, you go forward blindly, and whatever arises, arises. That's the problem, dog. That's the problem. There's a book about it by Yanis Varoufakis. I would really love to get that book. Apparently that book is actually him having a dialogue with his dad, and he gave it to his publisher, and his publisher published it as Technofeudalism. And I'm like, oh, what? Because I've watched some like podcasts of Yanis. He's a really interesting guy. Yanis Varoufakis is one of those guys who is on a level. He's one of those guys who's actually able to understand and talk with Slavoj Zizek. For those who don't know, Yanis Varoufakis is a Greek philosopher. He's a modern philosopher. Saw a meme on 4chan about how people think the future is going to be Star Trek, when realistically it will more likely be Amish style life. I don't know. People think it will be Star Trek. No, I think it's not going to be Amish. It's going to be Dune. That's what I think it's going to be. Aristocratic households fighting over the spice while we're all serfs. That's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. Solar blast from the sun hopefully takes out the grid. And that's the Carrington event that blasts and destroys everything and resets us. Technomancers and neuromancers. And that's the thing about... So this is the thing. Here's one thing that might happen in a techno-feudalistic society. In a techno-feudalistic society, we get cyberpunk kind of aesthetic, but we're all serfs. But then there's a class of hackers that arises. And if we do get the spectral revolution like Giorgiani, Shadowrun, the Shadowrun universe becomes real. That would actually be awesome. Not gonna lie. Shadowpunk, look it up. Sorry, Shadowpunk, not Shadowpunk. Shadowrunners. Shadowrunners. Look up that universe. That, even play the games. Play Shadowrun Berlin. Go, everyone right now. The stream is ending. But everyone right now, go to Steam, go buy Shadowrun Berlin or Shadowrun Hong Kong and play those two games, and you'll see what I mean. That's what the future is going to be like, if Giorgiani is right. And we don't succeed, and we're consumed by a techno-feudalist tyranny. That's what's happening. Or the sun doesn't explode. That's what's going to happen. Stream is ending. Kali Yuga resumes. Yes, Adam. Another guy. I'll answer that question in another live stream. Anyway, thank you all for joining this Hangout live stream, this failed live stream. I'm so sorry. Hope you all enjoyed the Taro pools. Thank you for all the donations. Bruh. I'm gonna fix my video encoder, and I'll get to y'all in the next one.